Yes, my friends, things are abuzz around the Atlanta Falcons. There's a lot going on, and we need to talk about everything that's going on. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any updates. We've got a lot to talk about, from contract negotiations heating up to potential draft picks that could finally solve Atlanta's pass rush woes. Let's start with Kaleb McGary. The Falcons don't have to worry about him hitting free agency just yet, but his price tag could be rising, and Atlanta needs to prepare for that reality. The Los Angeles Rams just gave left tackle Alaric Jackson a massive 3-year, $57 million extension with $35 million guaranteed. That contract sets a new market price, and while McGary will play on the opposite side of the line, it's an indicator of what he could be looking for after the 2025 season. McGary, who is entering the final year of his 3-year, $34.5 million contract, had a solid 2024 season. He shined in the run game, earning a 77.8 grade from Pro Football Focus, but he struggled a bit in pass protection with a grade of 63.8. He allowed 6 sacks and was penalized 3 times in 1,042 offensive snaps. Compare that to Jackson, who had better pass blocking and run blocking grades, allowing just 3 sacks but was penalized 7 times in 893 snaps. Here's the deal, McGary is about to become a critical piece of this offensive line, especially with Michael Penix Jr. potentially taking over. As a left-handed quarterback, his blind side is on the right, meaning McGary's role is even more important. If he wants a payday similar to Jackson's, he'll need to step up in pass protection in 2025. Spotrac projects his market value at around $51.8 million over 3 years, averaging $17.3 million per year. If he performs well, he could cash in big time. If not, the Falcons might have to make a tough decision next offseason. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the draft. The Falcons have a long history of avoiding 2 things in the first round: edge rushers and Georgia Bulldogs. But could 2025 be the year they break both trends? According to Pro Football Network's Marco Enriquez, Atlanta is predicted to take Georgia's Michael Williams at number 15 overall. Williams is exactly what the Falcons need. Atlanta's pass rush has been a disaster for years. In fact, they haven't finished in the top half of the league in sacks since 2017, the last time they made the playoffs. Coincidence? Probably not. That year, they also drafted their last first-round edge rusher, Takk McKinley. Since then, the team has spent their first-round picks on offensive playmakers, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back. Only 1 defensive player has been drafted in the first round over that span. Williams could change all of that. He had 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, and 21 total tackles in 2024. He also forced 2 fumbles and deflected 2 passes. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches and 265 pounds, he's got the size, length, and speed to be a problem for offensive linemen. Enriquez describes him as a player with all the physical traits, but one who still needs to refine his technique, particularly in shedding blockers and maintaining balance against stronger opponents. Historically, the Falcons haven't drafted Georgia players in the first round. In fact, they haven't done it since 1999 when they took Georgia Tech's Keith Brooking at number 12. That's 25 years without taking a homegrown Bulldog in the first round. But if Williams can bring the heat off the edge, fans won't care where he played in college. Here's the big question: will the Falcons finally invest in a top-tier pass rusher? Or will they continue their trend of prioritizing offense early in the draft? And what about McGary? Should Atlanta consider extending him now, or wait and see how he performs in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Bleacher Report's Gary Davenport has suggested an interesting trade scenario for the Falcons, one that could bring in a proven pass rusher for a bargain. According to Davenport, Atlanta could land Philadelphia Eagles edge rusher Bryce Huff for a 2026 6th-round pick. That's right, just a future late-round pick for a player who not long ago put up double-digit sacks. Now, why would the Eagles move on from Huff so quickly after giving him a 3-year, $51.1 million deal? Simple, he didn't live up to expectations in 2024, recording only 2.5 sacks and even being left off the active roster for the Eagles' Super Bowl win. Essentially, this would be a salary dump for Philadelphia. For the Falcons, this could be a steal. Atlanta's pass rush has been a major issue, and getting a guy who had 10 sacks in 2023 with the Jets without touching their 2025 draft capital is a move worth considering. Another key factor? Huff played under Jeff Ulbrich in New York, and now Ulbrich is running the Falcons' defense. That familiarity could make this a seamless transition for Huff. Of course, Huff alone isn't the answer, but he could be a piece of the puzzle Atlanta desperately needs. Speaking of veteran Falcons, let's talk about Grady Jarrett. Reports indicate that the Falcons and Jarrett are expected to work out a new deal. Now, there's no denying Jarrett is the heart and soul of this defense, but from a financial standpoint, things get tricky. He carries a cap hit north of $20 million in 2025, and if the Falcons were to release him, they'd save over $16 million in cap space. That's a tough pill to swallow for a fan favorite, but this is the business side of the NFL. The best-case scenario? Restructuring his contract to lower his cap hit while keeping him in Atlanta. And according to Zach Klein from 92.9 The Game, both sides want that to happen. Jarrett wants to stay, the Falcons want to keep him, and ideally, they'll work something out to make sure he remains a Falcon for life. Let's hope it's an extension rather than an outright pay cut. Now, onto a rumor that's bound to stir some strong opinions, Kyle Pitts. For the first time, we have a legitimate report suggesting the Falcons are open to trading him. Klein stated that Atlanta would 1,000% trade Pitts if the right offer came along. That's a big statement. Pitts was supposed to be the guy who revolutionized the tight end position when he was drafted 4th overall, but things just haven't panned out. His rookie season showed flashes, but since then, his production has dipped, and his impact on the field hasn't matched expectations. In 2024, he caught just 47 passes for 602 yards and 4 touchdowns while playing only 62% of the team's offensive snaps. Compare that to Charlie Warner, who played 40%, and you start to wonder, why isn't Pitts more involved? If the Falcons decide to move on, they face a tough decision. Keep him for another season at nearly $11 million and hope for a turnaround, or trade him now while they can still get something in return. The issue isn't just stats, it's effort. According to Klein, effort has been a concern, and that's something fans have also noticed. The talent is undeniable, but in the NFL, talent alone isn't enough. So, what do you think, Falcons fans? Should Atlanta pull the trigger on the Bryce Huff trade and take a low-risk, high-reward chance on a pass rusher? Should they restructure Grady Jarrett's deal to keep him long-term? And what about Kyle Pitts? Should the Falcons move on, or do you still believe he can turn things around? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an update on your Atlanta Falcons. Go Falcons!